really two reasons that we did decide to publish this. And we, like many other organizations, had it for weeks, had reporters in Europe and the United States trying to stand up or knock down specific details. But this was a document that was not just circulating at the highest levels of the intelligence community, the most powerful intelligence officials in the country, referring to it in briefings to the President of the United States, the President-elect, reportedly, disputedly. The political elite, top elected officials, the Gang of Eight, John McCain saw it. Certainly the media elite had it. And I think, and didn't just have it, we're starting to act on it. Harry Reid had written a letter referring to it. And I think when you have an object that is in play, that is having consequences for the way our elected leaders are acting, you do have to ask the question of why should I suppress that? There are then good reasons, right? Once, though, it emerges, as it did last night, that in the public conversation that there is this secret document floating around full of dark allegations that we will not repeat to you, that I feel like in this era you really have to show your readers what that is in an appropriate context. In our original report, I mean, if you read what we wrote, it stressed that there were real solid reasons to distrust this. It noted two specific errors.
All right, but you talk about context and you talk about putting the responsibility on the readers, but at the same time, don't you have a responsibility of not spreading false information? Are you knowingly spreading false information?
I mean, I think as with the Obama birth certificate thing during the Obama campaign, this is an incredibly difficult balance that everybody in our business navigates every day.
But you're not publishing a false, you're not publishing...
You are quoting people saying...
I understand, but did you publish a false birth certificate?
We certainly quoted the President-elect of the United States making false claims about it. And years ago, we debated whether we should quote regular citizens in Iowa saying, I don't believe his birth certificate. And I remember us thinking at first, we probably shouldn't, that we shouldn't pass that on, and then saying, you know what, this has become a force that is impacting the conversation. The information environment, fake news, are now they're factors in the conversation.
But haven't you just participated? I mean, look, the fake news thing has turned into this,
I think different kinds of information...
Didn't you just... And I'm sure, I know this was not your intent. I've known you a long time. But you just published fake news.
We just published a dossier. No, I think that's a really...
Why is that why is that an unfair description?
I think people love to throw the term fake news around to diminish anything they don't like. But I think this was a real story about a real document that was really being passed around between the very top officials of this country. And then the question you say is, okay, it's okay for you, Chuck Todd, to see this document. It's okay for me to see it. Okay for John McCain. Okay for the CIA. Why is it not okay for your audience? Or why is it, which of your audience members are you comfortable showing it to? And I think when people are, as Harry Reid did, top officials are making, not just seeing it, making decisions based on it, it is appropriate to tell your audience and to respect the fact that they can say this looks like nonsense.
All right. It seems to be it's almost as if you're saying there was only two choices you had here, not publish or publish. There is a gray area. I understand this idea in this day and age that there are many readers that feel as if show me that you have the goods. There is such thing as redaction. And you could have redacted. You could have said, here it is, and you know what? You didn't do many. You did very, very few, and in some cases not enough, as far as even I believe one of the people who contributed to it. So why not do that? Why not go that middle ground? I understand you're making a case here. Hey, all these leaders have this. We know this is available. CNN made the decision to do what you just do, which is, hey, this is out there. We know that this report exists. It's a dossier. It's unverified information. Stop.
I think that there's obviously a spectrum in a lot of decisions, and I think reasonable people can really disagree about where you do that. To me, to say, as some organizations did, there is a secret document, here is our summary of it, we are going to protect your eyes from it, is very difficult to explain or maintain, because you're allowed to take false claims and summarize them, but not show. I mean, I guess our impulse, and I think is to show the audience the underlying document, let them make their own decisions, and respect them to be able to doubt
But
things.
At one point, I understand this, and that's all this in transparency, but transparency can turn into a crutch to turn into laziness. I mean, the job of the reporters is we're doing our best to find truth. Okay? At the end of the day, it's the best truth we can have. And you made a knowing decision to put out an untruth.
If we
or at least something you hadn't proven true yet.
If we had gotten that dossier, if there had not been a public conversation about secret documents that no one was allowed to see, we would have continued, as I think we did and many of our competitors did in Prague and other places, to try to report this out. I mean, I agree with you. When you get a tip, when you get an anonymous document, you know, as we do every day at BuzzFeed News, when we recently.
But why aren't you? Go down that logical road. There's a lot of unsubstantiated sources on there. Why aren't you reporting all of your unsubstantiated sources? Why in this particular case?
I think if it was reported that the President of the United States was being briefed on a salacious personal report about me or some other piece of gossip, I think we would feel compulsion to
By the way,
print that document.
it's not confirmed that he was definitely briefed on
I
this
know, I saw your report on that.
Okay, we have not
It had
done
been
that.
reported. It was reported last night. I realized that.
Did you guys make an effort to confirm whether or not he actually was briefed on this? And would that have made a difference in your decision?
We did a lot of reporting about the extent to which this was widely distributed at the highest levels. I do think there was also a report last night that was part of that. We did not have all of that ourselves.
Do you believe I'm going to quote Margaret Sullivan. She just says this flatly. It's never been acceptable to publish rumor and innuendo, period. Do you agree with her?
I think that we are now in a media environment where you have to engage
in rumor and innuendo.
I mean, I guess I think it's an environment where you have to, and you no longer have the luxury, where the legacy media, which has at times turned away from saying, wow, there's all of this crazy stuff on the internet, we're not going to touch it, we're going to stay out of it, we're just going to kind of let it spread. And I think that this is a place where sunlight is a disinfectant, where it's important to show your audience what you have.
There was a line. When does the line become yelling fire in a theater?
I think that you're absolutely right that that reasonable people can disagree. I mean, I'm not sure that you would say that the effect of publishing this has made people think it's more credible, by the way. Do you think that?
No, but do you believe that you have helped the credibility of the media with the public or hurt the credibility of journalism with the public?
I think in the long term, we all have to reckon with the reality that we've got to engage information that is out there, true and false. Do our best to verify it and be as transparent as we can with our readers about what we know, what we don't know, what we doubt. It's an incredibly uncomfortable thing, I think, for everybody. I realize
Are you still comfortable with this decision? Or
absolutely. I think this was absolutely the right thing to do.
All right. Ben Smith. We could go on and on, but my producer is yelling at me because the clock keeps ticking. Anyway, I appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for having me on, Chuck.
Not easy debating these things, and yet I love having these media debates. They are exciting in newsrooms. Anyway, Ben Smith, thank you. We'll be right back.